Fuel is the official podcast of the 434th Air Refueling Wing. Join us for airman connections, leadership insights, mentorship, and happenings mixed with some fun and humor. Please understand that the views expressed in this podcast are not necessarily the views of the U.S. Air Force nor the Air Force Reserve, and no endorsement of any person or business is ever intended.
Welcome to a special edition of the podcast for me anyway. So it's I get to interview my replacement, my friend, Brian Jensenius, Chief Brian Jensenius. Welcome, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So first off, Jensenius, is that correct?
100%.
Yeah. What's the origin? What's the family background there?
It's Norwegian.
Norwegian.
It is.
And you guys, do you have still ties there or are you?
Actually, we do. My father started doing some, background, trying to get a little family history, and he found that we still have some relatives that live in Norway.
Yeah,
in the Stavanger area. My great grandfather was a pastor in a church there. Did some missionary work down in Madagascar. But I guess there's some writings that from my great grandfather that are still in that church. So someday I'm gonna make it over to Norway and try to figure out. And I don't read or write or speak Norwegian, but we'll figure it out. There's Google Translate now. So
this is usually where I would explain to Tech Sergeant Weaver that Norway is a country and it's outside of Indiana, that we're not talking about like Norway, Indiana. But so since he's not there, I'm sure you already know that, Sergeant Burt. So
I've never heard of Norway.
Yeah.
Indiana.
Yeah. That's where Josh might take that. So you're coming to us from where?
I am coming from the 514th Air Refueling Wing, Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst.
Okay.
Right now, I'm currently the senior enlisted leader of the 714th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron. We're a KC-10 maintenance unit in the midst of transition to the KC-46 tanker. It's been a lot of hard work the last year and a half as we're divesting airplanes and getting people out to get trained on the new airplane, and it's been fun, but there's some a lot of craziness going on with that.
Yeah. So. Maintainer by trade.
Correct.
And so art, currently in art, moving over to the AGR world.
That is correct. So I've been in art since December of 2003. Mm-hmm. I was a traditional reservist for about a year and a half before that. I was in active ready reserve after I left active duty. So I did 4 years active duty at McGuire on the KC-10s. And then I came over to be a traditional reservist, then moved into the art world. I spent most of my time at McGuire. I did spend 3 years down at Seymour Johnson on fighters, F-15Es. And I was able to go back to McGuire. And I've been there for about 3.5 years again.
So a guy that's, it's kind of homestead, right? You've kind of homestead there at McGuire, but also got out a little bit, moved around to Seymour. And then now you're making the great step to Indiana. What drove you to that?
Well, to be honest with you,
please do.
Yeah. So I really wanted to, I care about taking care of people and taking care of airmen. And, I've been vectored and I've been fortunate. I've had some good mentors. Later stages of my career, could say I had some great mentors earlier stages of my career, but my later stages career and, vectoring that towards the command chief, job. And so I started looking at it, and my wife started really pushing at me and telling me that I could do it. So, able to apply to be an AGR command chief. I mean, as being an art, I had to I was limited of where I could apply for, just because I need a full-time job.
Right.
You like food
with your meals.
I do. Yes. Yeah. I really don't have to go home to explain to my wife why I don't have a job anymore.
There you go.
But, the opportunity to apply to come out here to Grissom, honestly was there's a couple different things. I've heard some great things about the Hoosier Wing. And I've talked to a few people. I've had the opportunity to talk to you at the 4th Air Force Group Senior Enlisted Leader Conference. And it gets me kind of close to home. I'm a Michigan native. So I have family within 5. My closest family is about 3.5 hours away.
Nice.
Up by the Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo area. And then my parents, which, due to COVID and, just the craziness the last few years I haven't seen my parents in over 3 years. So, in person, I talk to them quite a bit. But.
Yeah. so grew up outside of Detroit there, right? And so, like any truth to the rumor that you grew up with Kid Rock or Eminem? Like
Okay,
any of
so
those?
no, I did not grow up with Kid Rock or Eminem, but I do have. So before I became an art, when I was a traditional reservist, I lived in Metro Detroit. I lived in a little town called Warren, which is right off 8 Mile.
You used to do rap battles?
No, I did not. Not very good at that. But
Okay.
so when they made the movie 8 Mile, the trailer park scene, that trailer park was about 2 miles from the house that I owned, right there off 8 Mile. So I'd drive to work and see them shooting the movie in there. It was pretty cool.
That's neat. And then you've mentioned your wife a couple times. So Vanessa,
Vanessa,
right?
Yep.
We got to meet her, and man, what a wonderful woman. So
God bless her.
Yeah, way outkicked your coverage. You better hope that she doesn't figure that out. But man, she excited about moving here?
Very much.
Yeah.
We were driving around and looking at some houses here recently, and she was just commenting about how nice everybody is, and it's just it's just been really. We've been really fortunate coming out here and being able to see all the folks around here. And I wish I was able to meet everybody the last couple of days that I've been here, but it's impossible. It's tough. But my wife she couldn't say enough great things about the folks at Grissom and in the local area, and just how much of a family this place is. And that's what we really always look for is, the family environment. Family is very important to us. So
yeah, that Hoosier hospitality is hard to beat. Right?
It is.
So,
yeah.
And so you and her coming out here, no kids, any dogs,
no dogs,
cats, hamsters, nothing.
No.
All right,
no.
just you two, man.
Just
and
you
what do you call that? You have a name for it, don't you?
Yeah, we like to call ourselves dinks.
Okay.
Dual income, no kids.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it is. It is nice. So, but whatever happens, we'd like to start a family, and it's just been a lot of wrong timing. But it's hopefully this is the right time. So we're looking forward to maybe trying again out here.
We're about to be adopting about 1,451 family members. So
that's awesome.
That's exciting. I'm excited for you guys. What about hobbies? Like, what do you guys like to do?
Well, we like to travel. So day trips, just get in the car and just start driving somewhere. And we had this little thing. We'll start driving, and we'll come up to an intersection, and I look at her and be like, left, right, or straight, or depends on what it is. And she'll say, go left. So we start going left, and then if we see something we like, and we'll stop and check it out. If not, we'll just keep moving on. And it's kind of neat. It's just no stress, and just it's a good way for us both to decompress and spend some quality time together, and and talk and and see America.
Yeah,
it's great.
Some of the intersections will look the same out here when the corn is up.
Yes.
So you may be like, "Did we go in a circle?"
Yeah. Good thing for GPS.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So
we like to go to movies. Movies are a thing too. So anything that's us spending time together. We don't get enough.
What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie of all time?
Yeah.
Oh man, there's so many. But it's Star Wars, man. I'm a Star Wars. Yeah, I'm a Star Wars.
Which
nerd.
one? Isn't there a bunch?
All of them. Yeah. Doesn't bother me. I love them all.
So I've revealed this on one of the previous podcasts, but I've never watched a Star Wars ever.
Oh,
yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it started out. I wasn't like intrigued by it,
yeah.
And then it kind of got to be. Every time I would say that, people would flip out. So like, well, now I'm definitely not.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. So
me and you had to private talk after this now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Then you're gonna try to sneak one in somewhere. Yeah. So, what about like you guys binge watch any shows? Like you binge watch any shows right now? Or
man, yeah, we try to. The last year and a half, my wife's been working off shifts, so she's been working swing shifts. So it's really been hard, but yeah, I mean, we like The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
We binge watch that. There's a few other shows that we were watching that we're over a season behind because, I deployed. She was working swing shift. I came back, so we're a little behind. But so we binge watched The Mandalorian, Obi-Wan. Let's see, what else did we binge watch lately? There's a couple, and I don't remember them all now. But we just started getting into the new Game of Thrones.
Okay,
so we're working on that one too. So
yeah, I've never watched that one either.
No.
So anyways,
yeah.
Hobbies.
Well, I love sports. I'm a big Michigan fan. Detroit fan, so all the Detroit sports teams. When I'm home, when I get a chance to go home and hang out with my dad, we'll tinker around and maybe on fixing something, whether it's a car or a tractor or build something. So I'm trying to get into woodworking. When I was down at Seymour, I built. My wife wanted a new kitchen table, so we sold our old kitchen table, and she handed me some plans and said, "Hey, why don't you build me this kitchen table?" So I did.
Yeah.
So it came out pretty good. There's a lot of things I'd like to do a little different on it. So, that's my next step. And I think it's a nice little calming thing to do sometimes.
Yeah, it is a little stress reliever at that. So Detroit Lions fan?
Yes.
All the way around, all Detroit sports.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So dedicated to that.
I am, yeah.
Yeah, so not a lot of sports celebration. I guess hockey, you guys are pretty good.
Yeah, we have been terrible the last few years, but
yeah.
We're actually from the same area, Chief.
Oh,
I'm from Wyandotte.
okay, nice.
Just for those of you just tuning in, that's Sergeant Burton behind the mic. Barton, sorry,
yep.
Barton. Why did I say Burton? Barton. So our public affairs. She's
both.
Yeah, she's filling in for the Dream Weaver. So I'll have to come up with a nickname for you. So before we get going,
It could be Burton.
Yeah, the Burton. Yeah, no, it's gonna be Burton. That was easy. So, that any like college? Did you go to college?
I did. So when I graduated high school, I graduated from a small town in northern Michigan, just north of Mount Pleasant, which houses Central Michigan University. And my mom worked there. So it was kind of a natural to go down there since it was free, minus my room and board. Yeah. So I went there and, I wouldn't say I was the most studious student in college. It probably was one of those, people talk about, college wasn't for me at that time, and college was not for me at that time. So, and that's really what drove me to joining the Air Force. My mom kind of talked to me. She's like, "Hey, I don't think this college thing's really working out for you. So, why don't you go in the Air Force?" So, I went and talked to a recruiter, and 27 years later, here I am.
Wow. That's would you Tech Sergeant Weaver likes to think that he's the only collegiate athlete. Did you play any college sports or anything?
No.
Yeah, he was like number 5 on a 6-man team.
Yes. No. So I did. I attended Central Michigan University for a little bit. They kindly asked me to try to attend college elsewhere. So when I joined active duty, when I left active duty, I went back to Michigan. I went to a small local college called Baker College, and I started working on my degree. And then I finished my bachelor's degree in New Jersey at Thomas Edison State University. So took me 22 years from graduating high school, but I got my bachelor's degree. So
that's awesome.
It was.
Yeah. Congrats on that.
Oh, thanks.
Kind of shifting gears here. You're moving into this command chief role. And I know that when I was getting ready to take these steps, it seemed like such an intimidating job because there's no real manual for it.
There is no.
Yeah. So there's no real, to sit down and be like, what would you do in this situation or what would you do in that? So kind of describe us your leadership style.
Well, that's always one of those trick questions, I think, when people ask you, what's your leadership style? But, I think and I like to describe it, it's not just one type of style. It's just a mixture of a bunch of different things, Yeah, I think a good leader should lead out front, set the example, set the tone, but you trust your other leaders to do their jobs, and so that's my expectation, So the way I lead my squadron back at McGuire and my lower level supervisors, I tell them like, hey, that's your lead. That's your flight. You take care of it. Mm-hmm. You make the decision. I don't want to say there's never a wrong decision or a wrong choice to make as a leader, but as long as you're making the choice for, and you have good reasons why you made that choice, even though it might end up being the wrong choice, it's one of those, that's a time where you can learn from that. So I'm like, hey, why did you make that choice? Okay, that's solid reasoning, but this is probably some of the other things you missed that you needed to look at. So you use that as a mentoring thing. So I've always told my guys, make the decision. Don't make me make all the decisions. You make the decision, probably find that 99% of the time you're making the right decision. You just don't know it. So don't be scared to do that. So
any books, like leadership books that you kind of read and you're like, oh wow, man, I'm put this in my hip pocket. Like anything that you really hold on to?
yeah. So I read a book called Extreme Ownership.
Yeah.
It sounds like you,
Jocko.
yeah, Jocko. And man, I read that book, and when I got done reading it, I was like, man, it's the biggest message I took out of that was owning your being a leader, right? So the one thing I tell everybody is, especially my squad, I'm like, hey, if something happens, it's my fault, and I'm okay with that. It's my fault because I somewhere failed to prepare you or give you the tools you needed. So and I try to instill that in everybody else too. Like, hey, if it's your flight or your AMU, you're the buck stops with you, right? So own it. And I had a young Master Sergeant come up to me, and he was like talking to me, and he was talking about leadership and, something to read. So I bought him the book and gave it to him. I said, hey, I read this book and I found it very powerful. Read it. And, about 6 months later, he comes back and he's like, hey, Chief, I finished that book. He goes, man, that book was awesome. And just before I came out here to spend some time with you, he sent me a text and was like, hey, thank you. And I'm like, okay, for a 4, I wasn't sure what was going on. And he's like, hey, I interviewed for a supervisor position. He's one of my arts. And he goes, I got it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh man, so it's good stuff.
We talked a little bit about that in the office the other day on how there's a lot of pieces of this job. You take the people out of it and the people accomplishing things. You're like, this job sucks, really, right? But if you put those people in and you're like watching someone accomplish something that they didn't think was possible, or sometimes even you didn't think was possible, it's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
It's probably the best part of this job.
And I tell you now, I've told this tell this to people for years. I get more joy and satisfaction out of my military career seeing people getting promoted, getting awards, medals, anything like that than anybody could come up and give me a medal, a decoration, or anything. It's awesome. I love seeing people succeed and come in and ask for advice and like, how do I get to the next level? Okay, well, here's just what you need to do, and here's also some things that can help you get there, right? So here's the minimum. Your PME and stuff and time of grade, time of service. But here's some of these other things that will set you apart from everybody else. And, and it's amazing when people are like, oh, okay, that's not that bad. Like, no, this is easy. This is really easy.
Do you have like a watermark moment in your career where you're like, hey, I think this moment really set me on a path forward, or this moment changed my vision or something like that?
So when I came back, when I transferred from the inactive Ready Reserve to the Ready Reserve, and I moved back out to New Jersey as an art, like I said, early in my career, I didn't have some great mentors. When I became an art, I had some good mentors, and, I started seeing opportunities, and, they were like, hey, you can do this, and they're like, just whatever you want to do, you can do this. So, I'm a comm nav troop by trade. So, and I wanted to fly. I wanted to see the world. And, so I started doing that. And I started learning other AFSCs on the airplane. And a good friend of mine who's, he took me under his wing, and he started teaching me how to crew an airplane, how to take an airplane on the road and make sure that airplane was good for their air crew. Because, as a maintainer, I got to make sure the airplane's good to fly, right? So, being on the road, now I'm flying on the airplane. You really want to make sure it's going to fly. So, and he taught me the right way of doing things. And it just started snowballing from there. So watershed moment from there, I think would be, being taken under by, a really good friend of mine now, and teaching me the ropes and telling me, hey man, go awards banquets, go to them. You don't have to be the one that's you're going there to support your teammates, your fellow airmen that are being nominated. That's what it's about, So it just starts snowballing from there. So it's great.
Do you have a leadership quote that you go by, or Are you a quote guy?
I'm not really a quote guy. I just don't remember them anymore. I don't remember them all. I remember some quotes.
Those penguins have fallen off the iceberg.
Yeah,
it's still a bit more information had to get out there, so you drop those off. So, if you feel like coming in here, I know when we interviewed you, you had a very mature response when we said, "Hey, what's your goals for Grissom?" And you were like, "I have no idea because I'm not at Grissom yet."
Nice.
The people of Grissom will determine my goals for me.
Absolutely.
But as you start this journey, and hopefully, you can look back in 2-3 years, however long you're here, I know the plan is 3 years, but however long you stay. Yeah. If you look back and you're at the beginning now, what do you hope at the end you can say, man, there was a lot of things, because we all do that. You get this level, you look back at what you've done. I've tried to enjoy these last few days here for me, but there's so many pieces as I look around and look at all the loose ends and all that stuff. But then if you were just sitting and you said, you look, bypass all those. At the end, you're like, man, I hope this at the end of all this. What would be that hope?
That I made a meaningful impact to at least one airman at Grissom. After that, that's the biggest thing, meaningful impact. I don't want to come here and just sit in the job and say, "Oh, I was a command chief for 3 years." No, I'm coming here because I want to make an impact, and build on the legacy of the command chiefs that came before me at the Hoosier Wing. And, at the end, if I can say I made an impact at least just one airman, I think I did all right.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, those pieces. And I'll tell you, this job has taken me in directions I never thought I would go. Stretched me in ways that I never thought that I needed to be stretched, or that I ever would stretch. And it's from day one until I walk out the door this time tomorrow, probably, right? And last night I'm at 10:30 at night putting my blues on to go notify a family of a service member that had passed away.
Yeah,
not one of ours, but another one. And so how do you prepare for that? Like, how are you mentally preparing for this right now?
Man, I don't think you can mentally prepare for this, except for the fact that that you're signing up for something that's way bigger than you can ever possibly be as a person. And just knowing that there's going to be times that you're going to sacrifice family time, or you're going to sacrifice something in your personal life for the greater good, because you need to take care of somebody else. And, and I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't have that support at home, or that my wife being able to help me support, or, the individual that's in need. So that's the biggest mental part of it. You don't, it's like those scenarios. Someone give you like a leadership scenario. What are you going to do in this situation? Well, I don't know. I'm not in that situation. Yeah.
I don't.
It's tough, right?
I used to always, on the police department, someone would come up to me and be like, "Hey, can you do this or this, that, legal wise?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. What color's your house?" And he said, "What's that have to do with it?" Well, there's a lot of details you left out.
Yeah.
That's just one of them.
Yeah.
So there's so many pieces, but yeah, I get that. And you kind of went down the path there, that support system. Like, where do you, obviously Vanessa, man, you can tell that as soon as you see each other around it, you just had a different energy about you, right?
Yeah.
Is that's I always call it the home base, right? That's like plugging me a DeWalt battery into the charger, right? And so it kind of looks that same way with you, and no endorsement of DeWalt there, but that's just all I had. But what's some other ways? Like, are you a fitness guy? Are you a weightlifter? Are you a runner? Are you I feel like there's a rap song there, a track star, something like that, but
not a track star.
Yeah.
I find running actually, throwing some AirPods and just going for a jog. It doesn't have to be a fast jog. Just getting out, and you kind of get out of your own mind for a minute, put some old school, maybe some Beastie Boys on there, or if you really, Metallica.
Is that your jam?
Well, to be honest with you, music wise, I'll go anywhere from West Coast rap to East Coast rap, all the way to jazz. I everything in between, country, rock, classic. I'm very easygoing when it comes to that. And if it's a good music, I'll listen to it.
What about a walkout song? Like we talked about that a little bit. Like what's some good walkout music that you'd have?
That's a good question. Let me get back to you on that.
Yeah, maybe at the next Commander's Call, you just walk out to it. It'll be a surprise.
Yeah, it's gonna be a surprise to the user wing.
That's right. It would probably surprise to everyone.
Yeah, including myself.
Yeah. So you've got that piece, knowing going in, like, hey, I need a good support system. How nerve-wracking or how, being at McGuire for as long as you've been, now you're looking for houses in a new area, that you're really just taking a bunch of people's word that you just met not too long ago, right? Yeah. I mean, we've known each other for a little while, and you've known Carl Pipperton. So, but there's everybody wants, the other night, the waitress drew you a map on a napkin, right? It said, don't buy in these areas, right?
Yeah.
But I think sometimes people who haven't PCS miss it, but how nerve-wracking is this?
Man, it's incredibly nerve-wracking, I PCS down in Seymour Johnson, but I did it as a civilian. So while it was nerve-wracking, there was a little bit more of a buffer, honestly, a civilian PCS, there's more benefits than a military PCS. So, and I had some good close friends that already moved down to that area. So it kind of steered me in the right direction. Not that I'm being steered in any wrong direction here, but I
think they know me. I've probably steered you a couple of times. Go ahead.
Yeah. But, it is nerve wracking, so the wife and I are, we're struggling through trying to find a house, and we think we found one. We're going to go actually take a look at it again.
A double look
before we make our, put that offer in today. So, not too long after we're done with this, we're going to drive down to Kokomo and take another look at it and make sure it's the right thing for us. But, even then it's like there's some differences in Indiana,
Well, and it's simple things. I was talking to Vanessa and I said, hey, is your hair naturally curly? Which is kind of a weird question for a dude that you just met to ask that, right?
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, yeah, it is. And I'm like, okay, I'll get my wife to give you the, because people with naturally curly hair, it's a whole process to find someone that cuts their hair the way they like it. And,
absolutely.
And stuff. And it's all those little pieces that start adding up. Where do I take my car to get worked on? If I want to buy tires, if I want to, all those things that you have already.
What dentist cleans my teeth?
Yeah, that's right.
Who checks my eyes?
Yeah.
There's billions of questions. When we moved back to New Jersey from North Carolina, it was easy. That was the easiest. There's no stress or nothing. We just packed up, went back, and went right back to all the same doctors we had 3 years before. And it was easy. But this one's there's a little bit of stress, and it's every day it gets closer to me moving out here permanently. Is that stress level goes up just a little bit.
Yeah. There was I was stopped by IGI when I was walking up here, and so I said, hey, any questions that you want me to ask him? And so I'm having a hard time reading my own writing because I was laughing so hard. But Sergeant Savani was wanting to know, like, what blade are you using for the cabbage up here? Like what for the haircut? Like he said it seems clean all the time.
So very clean.
Yeah.
When I'm in the shower in the morning, before I come to work and, I'm shaving my face, I use a nice Gillette Fusion 5.
Yeah.
I just do the whole.
No endorsement of Gillette.
No endorsement of Gillette.
Yes.
No. It's just my preferred razor.
Yeah. Just clean all the way around. Mm-hmm. That's every day though. That's a lot of.
Well,
seems like some work.
Saturday and Sundays, if I'm not putting uniform on, then
one day you got 2-day scruff going on.
I do. I
probably not recognable.
Wow. It's a lot of gray now.
And then our newest chief, Chapin, Chief Chapin wanted to know, like, one of the gifts I got was the People's Belt. If you've challenged me at all for the People's Belt yet. So,
Well, I mean, is there really a challenge there?
that said, I'm taking all challengers at any given time. So
I have watched some WWE in the past, and I would more than likely, when you're walking behind the,
Yeah.
in the backstage area, get you when you're not paying
yeah,
attention.
give it a chair or something like that.
100%.
So is that, so you said you're a sports guy by trade. Any sports that you want to bring to Indiana that maybe from New Jersey that I heard we were talking yesterday about spike ball.
Well, I have no idea what spike ball is.
Yes, sir.
I think we both had that same question.
But you're in on this is the cornhole capital of the world and the birthplace
Yeah. So
of cornhole.
I did pretty well with cornhole while I was deployed. So when we first got into our deployed location there, we got quarantined right away. So me and one of my flight chiefs or my pro super that was there with me, we took all challengers on, and we were the camp quarantine cornhole champions. I did not do as well once we get out of the camp quarantine there, but I could throw some bags. I'm not a professional by any stick of the means.
So if people are walking your office and have something to talk to you about, and you're listening to some music, what music would tee them off that you're in a good mood? Like, what do you listen to when you're in a good mood?
If I'm listening to music, I'm probably in a good mood.
Really?
Yeah.
What if you're in a bad mood?
I probably just look angry, and there's probably nothing going on.
So quiet.
It's going to be quiet.
So no,
And then, I'll do the angry music drive home.
yeah. What's your angry drive?
Normally it's some, heavy metal.
Okay.
Some Metallica or,
Yeah.
typically it's Metallica because it's about as angry as the music I don't get too much harder than that.
You an iOS or Android?
I have an Apple.
Okay.
So I'm an iOS
All right.
guy. Yeah.
All right. You a beer or wine guy?
I will drink wine, but I prefer beer.
Okay. You a beer or like a whiskey guy?
It depends on my mood.
Yeah.
But I do like my whiskey, and I do like some vodka, not
Okay.
every vodka. I won't name the name because I don't want to, it's trademark rights, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think we've already done that.
Yeah. So prefer beer.
Yeah.
But I don't mind, sitting there, especially, the end of a long day, maybe just having a nice little glass of whiskey or something straight on the rocks.
Yeah.
Easy to go.
All right. We'd like to call those mentoring sessions.
100%.
Yeah.
Have had a lot of those.
That's a good mentoring session. Anything you want people to know about you? Like going into this, like, this is what you should know about me.
Yeah. You know what? The biggest thing I want people to know is that I'm approachable, just because I might not look approachable, which I don't think I don't, but I've been told that I look unapproachable sometimes. But man, I'm very approachable. Come talk to me. Come say hi. If I can't talk to you because I'm busy, listen, I'm going to say hi to you, and I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes. But, sometimes we got a place to be, I'll be there. But, I really care about people, and I want to, I'll ask a lot of questions when I start talking to people, where are they from? What do they like to do? It's a lot of the same questions you've asked me today. And I try to remember everything, but man, the sponge isn't as good as it used to be, but I just want people to know that I'm here for them. I'm going to be their biggest champion. But
and we talked about this yesterday, the flight commander, flight chief course. When we talked to them, is there's two main things that military people don't like, and that's change and things staying the same. And so you're going to walk in the door, take the seat, take the office. We just switched offices, so that's probably good for you. You get a different it's at least not the same office, but I've heard several people, and I get this all the time. Hey, you're going to take Chief Loper's, spot. Like for me at the Pentagon, like he was so good. Like how I don't know people say that to you about me, but you walk in the door. A lot of times there's that there's the tendency to compare. So let's just get that out of the way right now.
Yeah. I'm not Chief Parks.
Yeah. And we don't want you to be. You know, I think if Colonel Pemberton wanted more of me,
He would have kept you around.
when I said, "Hey, sir, can I apply for this job?" he would have said no.
Yeah.
And so I just want to tell people that, you know, I've been thoroughly impressed from the first time that I met you, but then from the people I trust and what they say about you. But the things that are telling to me was, we walk into lodging. You know the lodging staff's name. It's that care for people that make this job, that make you successful in this job. And it makes people stop that comparison, because there's going to be different alligators in the boat than you. With you, there's when Chief Marion, man, everyone loves Chief Marion. I love Chief Marion. I still think I'm funnier than him. I definitely know that I'm better looking than him, but
Debatable on both counts.
yes, but it's, you know, I think those first few months, it's people wanting to compare those two. And I'm like, listen, I didn't have the same alligators as him. I had different alligators.
Yeah.
There was different things attacking us at that moment than what were attacking him. And there's going to be different things that are attacking you guys. And that's kind of your role as the command chief, is to start tossing alligators out of the boat. And so I look forward for the people of Grissom to look at you and be like, oh, they were right. He was exactly what we needed when we needed him. And so from the Grissom Airmen, I just want to welcome you and Vanessa to Grissom and tell you that I hope whenever this tour comes to an end, my hope for the Grissom Airmen is they get to know you. Because if they get to know you, they're going to love you, and they're going to know that your heart is for these airmen. So thanks for taking time with us. Any last thing you want to say?
Yeah. You know, I'd be remiss if I didn't take a few moments just to publicly or podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you for, I mean, you've been making this transition very easy. And I know you're separated from your family right now, and you stayed a little bit longer because I was able to come out here and spend some time with you and, you know, get some turnover. And, you know, you've been such a gracious host and get me out there and introduce as many people as you possibly can. And, you know, I truly thank you for that, my friend. And, you know, it's making the transition way easier than it was, because coming in cold into a new job that you've never done before is, it's not an easy thing to do. So you've reduced some of that stress level. So, and I appreciate it. And, you know, I look forward to the great things that you're going to do for the command and the Air Force Reserve Airmen as a whole up there at the Pentagon. Because I know some of the things that you saw here and you're passionate about here, you're going to take to the halls of the five-sided puzzle palace and try to fix for us. And, you know, and God bless you and good luck to that. So, and to the Grissom Airmen, I'm here. I'm your biggest champion. You know, like I said, I'm not Chief Parks, but him and we've had this discussion a few times in the past couple of days. You know, there's a lot of similarities between us, and the biggest one that I think we both found is our passion for our airmen is there, and it's so deep. And you know, I've never had a chance to meet Mrs. Parks there, but and I'm sure my wife and his wife have the same passion for our airmen as well. So, man, we're looking forward to this journey, and man, go Hoosier Wing.
Yeah, let's get it started.
That's right.
All right, brother.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.